I'll never forget the first time I saw her SUV crush my mailbox. The sound of metal bending echoed down our quiet street like a gunshot. I ran outside, coffee still in my hand, half believing it was an accident. But there she was, the same blonde woman in her shiny white Lexus, looking right at me through her window and smirking. Before I could even speak, she sped off, her tires spitting gravel all over my front lawn. My hands were shaking with a mix of anger and disbelief. I remember thinking, why me? Why my mailbox? It wasn't the first time something strange had happened on my street, but this felt personal. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from, because this story, trust me, you won't believe how far a petty HOA feud can go. My neighborhood had always been peaceful, birds in the morning, kids riding their bikes, neighbors waving while mowing lawns. I moved here for that very reason. I built my own mailbox post from solid cedar, polished the brass numbers by hand. It stood straight and proud by the curb like a small symbol of peace. For 2 years, nothing went wrong. Then last summer, everything changed when Karen moved in across the street. At first, she seemed friendly, bringing over cookies, talking about community spirit, hinting she might start an HOA. I didn't think much of it. But when I told her I preferred to keep my property independent, her smile faded in a way I'll never forget. The next morning, I found my trash cans knocked over. A week later, someone poured soda all over my car windshield. And then the mailbox, the one thing I built myself, bent, cracked, leaning sideways like it had been through a war. I tried to convince myself it was an accident. Maybe a delivery driver misjudged the curb. But then I saw it on my doorbell camera, the same white Lexus, reversing perfectly into it before driving off. My blood boiled. I downloaded the footage immediately. That night, I walked over to her driveway holding my phone. She was outside trimming her roses, wearing oversized sunglasses even though the sun had already set. "Hey, Karen, I started keeping my voice calm. I think your car hit my mailbox this morning." She didn't even look up. "Oh, that old thing," she said with a shrug. Maybe it was in the wrong place. The way she said it, cold, deliberate, made it clear. She wanted to provoke me. I clenched my jaw and told her I had video proof. Her smile vanished for a split second, then came back sharper. "Proof?" She laughed. "Good luck with that. The HOA won't take your side." That was the first time I heard her mention the HOA. Except, we didn't have one, at least not officially, but Karen acted like she ran the whole street. A few days later, flyers started showing up in everyone's mailboxes, Neighborhood Beautification Initiative. Her name at the bottom. When I refused to sign her petition, things got worse. One morning, I found fresh tire marks across my front yard, ending right beside another crushed mailbox, the third one in a month. That's when I decided. If she wanted to play dirty, I'd give her something she couldn't break. That night, I went online and ordered a reinforced steel mailbox bulletproof grade, the kind they use at police stations. It cost more than I wanted to spend, but I was done being her target. I dug deep, set the post in concrete, and bolted the frame until it could survive a tank. When I was finished, I stood there under the porch light, admiring it. My silent message to her was clear. Try it again the next morning. I woke up early just to see if she'd notice it. My new mailbox stood gleaming in the sunlight, silver edges catching the light like armor. I poured my coffee, stood by the window, and waited. Around 7:45, right on cue, her white Lexus rolled down the street. I could see her through the tinted window phone in one hand, the other gripping the steering wheel. She slowed as she passed my house, her lips curling into that same smug smile. For a moment, I thought she'd just keep driving. But then she stopped, reversed a few feet, and hit the gas. My heart froze. Her bumper slammed into the steel post with a thud that rattled my windows. Then came the sound of plastic shattering. Her Lexus grille crumpled like paper. I ran outside before she could even pull away. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted, hands raised. She was red-faced, slamming her car door and stomping toward me. "You think this is funny?" she yelled. "You can't just install some kind of death trap on a public street." I almost laughed. "Death trap? That's my mailbox, Karen. You ran it over 3 times. Her voice rose even higher, echoing down the block. "I have the right to maintain this neighborhood's appearance. That eyesore doesn't belong here." A few neighbors peeked out from their windows. One even started filming. The tension thickened like storm air before lightning. I pointed at the mangled front of her Lexus. "Looks like the only thing not belonging here is your driving." That's when she lost it. She stormed up my driveway, jabbing her finger toward my face. I'm calling the HOA. You'll regret this. I crossed my arms. There is no HOA, Karen. You made that up. Her eyes flickered with something fear or fury, I couldn't tell. Then she turned on her heel, got back into her car, and drove off, her bumper dragging and sparks flying behind her. I could hear neighbors whispering as I stood there, heart pounding. I didn't know it yet, but this was far from over. That evening, just as the sun dipped below the trees, two men in polos showed up at my door. Clipboards in hand, we're here from the Homeowners Association. One said. My stomach dropped. The what? I asked. They showed me papers with a logo that looked fake, like something printed from Google. You've violated Section 12, unapproved structural installation. The taller man said, failure to comply may result in fines or removal. I felt the anger rising again. You've got to be kidding me. There's no registered HOA here. Who sent you? The men exchanged a glance. Mrs. Richardson, one admitted Karen's last name. I realized right then that she'd gone further than I thought. She'd created a fake HOA, probably printed fake documents, maybe even roped in a couple of gullible neighbors to play along. I kept my voice steady. Then tell Mrs. Richardson she can explain that to the police. The men looked nervous, mumbled something about just doing their job, and left. My hands were shaking when I shut the door. She wasn't just a nosy neighbor anymore, she was crossing into criminal territory. I spent that night reviewing my doorbell footage again, saving every clip of her car hitting my property. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. A woman's voice, calm but venomous, filled my ear. You should take that mailbox down before someone gets hurt. My throat tightened. Karen, is that you? Silence. Then a click. I stared at my phone, realizing how deep this had gone. The next morning, a printed letter appeared taped to my door, typed, not handwritten, with HOA letterhead again. Final warning, remove unsafe structure immediately. No signature. Just the initials K, R. I crumpled it up, tossed it aside, and whispered to myself, it's time to fight back. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of shouting outside. I pulled the curtains open and saw Karen standing in the middle of the street, waving her arms at a police cruiser parked near my driveway. Two officers were talking to her while she pointed furiously at my mailbox. I took a deep breath, grabbed my phone, and walked out the front door with my camera rolling. Good morning, officers, I said calmly. Can I help you with something? One of them, a tall man with mirrored sunglasses, stepped forward. Sir, we received a complaint about a dangerous obstruction placed too close to the road. I glanced at Karen, her fake tears already running. Dangerous obstruction. I said, you mean the mailbox she's been ramming into every week? Karen gasped theatrically. He's lying. That thing is a weapon. It destroyed my car. The officer turned to her, skeptical. Ma'am, did you hit his mailbox with your vehicle? She hesitated. It doesn't matter. It's illegal. I handed the officer my phone. Here's the footage, officer. Every single time she's done it. He watched quietly, his jaw tightening as the video showed Karen's Lexus reversing perfectly into my property over and over again. When the clip ended, he looked at her and said flatly, Ma'am, that's destruction of property. You do realize that's a criminal offense. Karen's face turned pale. Wait, you don't understand. I was enforcing HOA rules. That's when I dropped the bombshell. There is no HOA. I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. She made it up. Those fake letters, the logos. I checked with the county. There's no record of any homeowners association here. The officer raised an eyebrow. Is that true, ma'am? Karen stuttered, her voice cracking. It was, just supposed to make the neighborhood better. I could see the neighbors gathering now, filming with their phones, murmuring to each other. The officer sighed. Ma'am, impersonating an HOA or law enforcement body can carry serious penalties. We're going to need you to come with us. Karen's jaw dropped. You can't arrest me. I'm the president. The crowd actually laughed. They led her to the patrol car, her face red with humiliation. As she passed my driveway, she hissed, You'll regret this. I just stared back and said quietly, Not anymore. The steel mailbox gleamed behind me like a silent witness. I didn't feel triumphant, just relieved. Watching the car pull away, I finally understood that her need for control wasn't about the mailbox. It was about power, the illusion of it. and she lost it the moment I refused to bow down. Later that week, I got a call from the real city office. They confirmed she'd been forging letters and fines. She was charged with property damage and harassment. The neighborhood changed after that. People started coming over just to talk, share stories, even help me repaint the curb. It felt peaceful again. The new calm had a strange kind of weight to it, like the air after a long storm. My mailbox still stands there today, untouched, a small reminder that standing your ground doesn't always mean fighting. Sometimes it means refusing to bend. Before you scroll away, tell me in the comments, would you have installed that bulletproof mailbox too, or would you have handled it differently? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes the only way to stop a Karen is to let karma hit harder than her Lexus.